Hi Upper Primary and welcome to today's performing arts lesson. And of course we continue with our choreography competition. It is already day 4. So first let's recap what we've looked at so far this week. We have looked at different dance elements that will help us to create the best dance possible to enter into the choreography competition. These include the music, the style of dance, whether your dance will have a narrative or be abstract, that means a story or no story. Include levels, low, medium, high, shapes that we looked at yesterday, as well as the size or scale of the movements. So it is day 4 and we have a new idea to look at today, which is pathways. Now, before I tell you what that is, have a think to yourself. Tell somebody in the room if there's somebody there. Which journeys do you make on a normal day? So travelling around. Perhaps at the moment they stay inside the house. So think about where you travel from the second you first wake up. Or you can think back to when we were going to school every day. What journeys did you make? All right, hopefully you've thought of a few there. I'm sure they're a lot less now than they were. So let's have a look at what that has to do with pathways. If we think back to Tuesday, we looked at levels, and I told you that levels was the space that we used from low to high, or if you want to think about it, up and down or vertical space. So we looked at the idea of the dance being in the basement, right up to assembly being on the top floor, and how we could use our body and move through space on a vertical line. Pathways is basically all the other space. So think about using horizontal space. That might include moving side to side, forwards and backwards, diagonals, circles, and anything else you can think of that isn't up and down. So just to practice that, I'd like you to think about the first letter of your first name and the first letter of your surname and draw it in the air with your finger. So for example, my name is Alison Bates. So that would be A for Alison, B for Bates. So I would draw an A and a B. Can you do that now for your initials? Excellent. Okay. Now, can you dance that pattern on the floor? So move in an A, B shape or whatever your letters are. Give that a try. Perfect. I hope you had enough space for that. Did you notice whether you made straight lines, curved or diagonal lines? Because there are all different pathways we can choose. Not everything is just traveling in a straight line. So if we think for my AB, back to my example, I had a diagonal line, another diagonal line, and then a horizontal straight line for the A. And my B was a straight line, followed by a curve and another curve. So if I'd have moved that out in the space, I would have used straight, diagonal, and curved pathways. Traveling movements. So now that we know we can make straight, curved, diagonal pathways on the floor, how are we going to get there? What did you do to travel your letters? Did you walk, run, hop? Traveling movements in dance are also known as locomotor movements. Anything that isn't static on one spot and helps you to travel in this space. So I've given you some examples of walk, run, hop. Maybe you used a different traveling or locomotor movement to create your letters on the floor. have a moment, discuss with somebody in the room if there's anyone there. What other travelling movements can you think of? All right, hopefully you got a few there. Did you get any of these? Slither, creep, slide, gallop, crawl, leap, skip, jump, roll, and march. So now it's going to be your turn to have a little try of this. So we have got pathways to consider and also the locomotor movements that will help us to cover that pathway. Can you hop forwards in a straight line? Off you go. Perfect. Simple enough, right? So can you gallop to the side in a curved pathway? Got it? Good. Next. Can you roll to the back of the space in a zigzag line? Perhaps a little trickier. And lastly, can you skip backwards in a circle? Be careful on this one. Excellent work, team. I don't know if you noticed, but the last action, the skip backwards, also made us think about the direction we were facing. So in your dance, you might not always want to face the direction you're going. So perhaps if we were going to do 3 walks and a clap to the side, I've got an option whether I keep my body forwards and travel that way, or I can turn my body to the way that's going and walk in the direction of where my chest is facing. Just another thing to think about. So today's task. I would like you to think about the dance you've made so far. Can you remember it all, including the new moves we did yesterday? Practice to make sure you know it well. Now, I'd like you to get a piece of paper and a pencil or pen and draw the pathways you have in your dance so far. I will try to demonstrate this with a whiteboard. So here's my whiteboard. And I might think, okay, my dance starts in the center and I do 4 walks and a jump clap forward, 4 walks and a jump clap back, and then I did 8 skips in a circle, and then I run to a diagonal line and have an end position down here. So I can look at that pattern and think, okay, I've got a diagonal, I've got a straight line, I've got a curved. There is an awful lot of space here though that I haven't used yet. So I'd like you to do the same. Draw the pathways you have in your dance so far. Can you check, based on your drawings, evaluate whether your dance has a good portion of travelling locomotor movements, or does it stay on one spot a lot? If your dance is staying on the spot a lot, can you now add some more movement today that includes pathways? Think of all those locomotor or travelling movements that we thought of, where your body's going to face. Do you want to make a circle, a diagonal, a zigzag, a straight line? There's so many opportunities and chances and things you can experiment with there to make it really cool. But just make sure that your dance isn't too static, which means it stays on the spot too much. And most importantly, of course, have fun, upper primary. Best of luck. Go and grab yourself a piece of paper and pencil, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.